big news.
Today,
we're rolling out our new Gemini 3.5 Flash model.
Our newest flagship model.
we're launching GPT-5.
Welcome to the stage, NVIDIA founder and CEO, Jensen Huang.
Welcome to GTC!
Welcome everyone. India wants to become an AI superpower. And one of the world's biggest technology companies is putting billions of dollars behind that ambition.
Major Indian enterprises this week.
Invested about $40 billion since 2010 in India.
Google is establishing a full-stack AI hub, infrastructure investment in India.
Google has committed $15 billion to build a data center in Visakhapatnam, Andhra Pradesh. A 1 gigawatt hyperscale data center.
I mean, just to, I guess, put this in perspective, I think a gigawatt, it's like around the size of like a meaningful nuclear power plant only going towards training.
On paper, this is exactly the kind of investment India wants. Global capital, global technology, and new infrastructure. And thousands of potential jobs. But then, something unexpected happened. People living around that project areas started raising concerns. Water, wildlife, and the pressure of a project of this scale could put on the local resources. A public interest litigation has also been filed in the Andhra Pradesh High Court. So, is this a case of a technology company damaging a community? Or is India simply facing the unavoidable costs of being an AI superpower? Actually, neither explanation tells the whole story. Because the bigger question is, if India is going to host the physical infrastructure of AI economy, how much of value will India actually capture? And can the country scale this infrastructure without making the people living around it pay an unfair price? That's the real story. And a quick shout out, if you are new to my channel, welcome to Rohan the Hustler. And let's enter the part 1. The AI race is physical. When we talk about AI race, we usually talk about models. ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, and beneath every one of them is something that is less glamorous. Infrastructure. To run AI at scale, you need powerful GPUs. Those CPUs sit inside servers. Those servers sit inside massive data centers. And those data centers need an enormous amount of electricity, cooling, and connectivity. So the AI stack is physical. Chips, servers, data centers, power, connectivity. And right now, countries around the world are racing to build it. Because access to the compute is becoming a strategic advantage. This is where India enters this picture. In 2026, Google confirmed a $15 billion investment in an AI hub in Visakhapatnam. The project is planned around a 1 gigawatt hyperscale data center. It roughly spans 600 acres across 3 locations. And it is being developed with Adani Connex. And the Andhra Pradesh government sees this as a major economic opportunity. Investment, infrastructure, jobs, and a chance to place Visakhapatnam as an AI hub. So from 30,000 feet, it seems like an obvious win. But infrastructure becomes very difficult when you stop looking at it from the 30,000 feet. That's where the part 2 comes in. Why are people protesting? This is where the story gets interesting. The environmental groups and socialists raise concerns about 2 things: water and wildlife. Visakhapatnam already has pressure on its water system. Reported cited gap between the city's daily water requirement and supply. Activists argue that a hyperscale data center could add pressure to the resources that are already under stress. There are also concerns around the project's proximity to the Kombalakonda Wildlife Sanctuary, and an activist group called Jal Biradari filed a public interest litigation in Andhra Pradesh High Court over concerns linked to water resources and the project's environmental impact. But this is where we need to be extremely careful. These are concerns and allegations. They are not the same thing as the court finding that the project is causing those impacts. And there is another side. The Andhra Pradesh government has rejected key allegations around diversions of residential or rural drinking water and has defended the project's approval process. And the Google has also said that the campus will use advanced air cooling technology designed to significantly reduce the water use. It has also said the project will comply with applicable environmental requirements. So we have three different interests here. The government wants investment and infrastructure. Google wants to build and operate a massive AI facility. And local groups want development without losing their access to scarce resources. That is much more interesting conflict than government versus residents or Google versus activists. And economics gives us a framework to understand it. And that's where the part 3 comes in. And the concept is called externality. A project creates benefits. The company can get revenue and strategic advantages. And the government can get investment, jobs, and economic activity. But some costs can spill outside the transaction. And those costs can be experienced by the people who are never the part of the deal. Think about a factory. The factory creates jobs. If pollution affects a river, people downstream can bear part of the cost. Now apply that same idea to the data center. If a hyperscale infrastructure needs more electricity, more water, more roads, or more supporting infrastructure, the question becomes who pays for the extra capacity and who benefits from the investment.
I noticed my electric bill gone up. Started asking my neighbors, is your bill also going up? And they had no idea that this was.
This doesn't mean residents are anti-development. In fact, they want the jobs and investment. The question is whether the local benefits and local losses are being balanced. And that is the real economic tension. And the same debate is happening around data centers all around the world.
Dozens of demonstrators gathered today rallying against the increasing number of data center plans across Michigan.
Nationwide pushback against the continued construction of data centers in local communities.
Ireland, the US Southwest, the Netherlands. Whenever enormous computing infrastructure meets limited local resources, this question appears. But here is where I think the story becomes much bigger than the Visakhapatnam. $15 billion sounds enormous. And it is. But investment size doesn't alone tell you how much economic value India is going to capture. To understand that, look at the AI value chain. At the beginning are the chips, then data center infrastructure, then cloud services, then AI models, then applications, and finally business built around those applications. The data center is essential. Without compute, the layers above it struggle to scale. But owning the physical infrastructure is not the same as owning the technology built on top of it. And that distinction matters for India. Because India doesn't just want to become a place where foreign companies put servers. It wants to build companies that create technology on those servers. It wants researchers, startups, AI models, applications, universities, and intellectual property. This is why India's own India AI mission matters. The mission was approved with a layout of about 10,371 crore over 5 years. Its broader goal is to expand compute access and build capabilities around AI, innovation, datasets, skills, and indigenous technology. So imagine two different futures. India builds massive data centers, foreign companies runs the infrastructure, foreign companies owns most of the technology above it. India provides land, power, construction and talent. That's useful, but the value captured is limited. Now imagine the second. Those same data centers become anchors for Indian startups, research labs, universities and AI companies. Now compute isn't just sitting in India, it is helping an ecosystem grow around it. And that's the difference between pushing the AI economy and building part of AI economy. But even that raises another question. If a data center physically sits in India, does India automatically control the technology inside it? Not necessarily. The chips can be designed abroad. Much of the AI hardware is manufactured outside India. Cloud platforms can be foreign owned. AI models can be developed by foreign companies. And intellectual property can sit in another jurisdiction. So there is an important distinction. Physical structure is not the same as technological sovereignty. Legal jurisdiction matters too. For example, the US Cloud Act can, in circumstances, require cloud US service providers to produce data within their possession, custody or control, subject to laws requirements. That doesn't mean every piece of data in an Indian data center is automatically accessible to the US government. It means ownership and legal control can matter alongside physical location. And this is why attracting data centers is only one part of India's AI strategy. The harder challenge is building the capabilities around them. So, let's go back to the question we started with. India is attracting billions of dollars into AI infrastructure. Who really wins? The answer depends on what India does next. A data center gives you compute, but compute alone doesn't give you AI leadership. AI leadership comes from what sits at the top of the compute: talent, research, models, applications, companies, and eventually technology ownership. But there is another lesson buried inside the Visakhapatnam controversy. Scale creates constraints. Electricity, water, land, connectivity, skill, talent, and even community acceptance. They are not side issues. They are the part of the infrastructure. If those constraints aren't planned for, a massive investment can become a massive bottleneck. So this isn't a story about a government that is wrong. It isn't a story about a company that is greedy. And it isn't a story about residents who are anti-development. It is a story about the difficult trade-offs that appears when a country tries to scale a new strategic industry. Companies need predictable rules, and local communities need their concerns taken seriously. A real challenge is making all three work together, because the AI race isn't really a race to build the most data centers. It's a race to control what happens on top of them. This is exactly the kind of story Rohan the Hustler exists for. Global business, geopolitics, technology explained for an Indian audience. So here's my question. Would you support a massive AI data center near your city? If it brought investment and jobs, but also put additional pressure on local resources? Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you want more stories where we go beyond the headline and understand how these deals actually work, subscribe to Rohan the Hustler. See you in the next one.